Hey everyone, welcome back to Punch Club Media. If you're a fan of the channel, then you know the importance of the jab and you understand why it's so important for a boxer to utilize. A lot of things in the ring start with the jab, whether you're using it to score points, using it to set something up. Without it, you stand no chance in the ring. So maybe you have a jab, but maybe it kind of sucks. Maybe you're struggling with some things. Maybe you can't hit your opponent, or maybe every time you do, you get countered off of it. Whatever it is, I hope you find this video helpful, and I hope we can find a way to fix your jab. Let's roll the intro, and then we'll get right into it. The most common issue I see when people throw the jab is that they telegraph it. The jab is an A to B punch. It's a straight line. As soon as it leaves the chute to that point of impact, it's a straight line. There should be no pullback, no angle, nothing. A to B. But people like to put power in their jab. They want to make it stick. They want to really hurt their opponent. So they'll either pull back and shoot it, or they'll throw their whole body into it. There's all sorts of different ways that people do it. But either way, your jab only goes forward and it comes back after impact. It should not be coming back before impact. As you saw right there, you can see clearly what I'm going for. If it's from here to here, there's less time for you to read it and react. But if I pull that thing back, then obviously you see it coming, you can react, you can counter off of it. I want you to focus on the path of your shot here. Really focus on that A to B motion, making sure that it doesn't deviate along the way. Do this slow, it doesn't have to be a workout on the bag. This is a technique, this is technical work, so you don't have to burn yourself out to do it. Work all the components together, from the step to turning that punch over to breathing, all of it, all in sequence, but just focus on keeping that path, that A to B motion. Remember, your jab is not a power shot, so don't try to make it the final blow. Reason number 2 why your jab sucks, it's because your feet and your hands aren't calibrated. I want you to focus on timing here. Your foot and your hand should be like there's a string tied together. That front hand and that front leg should always be moving together when you're throwing this jab. When you throw the jab and it makes impact, your foot should be making contact with the ground at that same exact time. When you pull it back in, your foot comes back in with it. The problem people get here is that when they throw it out, they'll step and their foot will make impact before their hand makes impact, or vice versa. Their glove will make impact with the bag, and then their foot hits, and it's all just looks all wacky, looks weird. It's wrong. And essentially, you are losing all your power here because your foot's not down, that kinetic chain is broken, and it doesn't allow you to move into a combo or any other sort of movement afterwards, because if you hit and your foot's still in the air, you ain't going nowhere. To fix this, you need to slow it down. Again, just take a second, breathe, slow it down, back to the basics. Real slow, working on the bag. If your foot hits first before your hand, then you messed up. If your hand hits before your foot, then you messed up. This would be a really great time to record yourself and get that timing down and really focus on making that an effective punch by having that calibration there. Maybe those 2 reasons aren't your issue. Maybe you got them down. Here's another possibility. You're having a problem with distance control and finding your range. If you're frequently just out of reach of your partner's face or gloves when you're throwing the punch, or maybe you're smothering yourself, then you have a problem with your range. This is one of those things that come with time, and when you're practicing the jab on the bag, or maybe you're practicing all your punches on the bag, you need to be thinking about that range. If you're too close that you're not getting that full extension, then you're smothering yourself and you need to take a step back. If you're never hitting the bag, well then you're too far out of range. Just practice this over and over and over again and do it slow. Look at where you are at in relation to the bag. My mic fell down. Everything's falling apart. Anyways, just practice this over and over and over again, paying attention to your range specifically and fixing it as you go. And then it's just drilling it and drilling it and drilling it until it becomes that automatic extension of your brain so that you have that correct distance in the ring. The last reason I'm going to talk about, and it's overcommitting to your jab. Again, the jab is not a KO punch, so stop trying to use it as one. If your opponent goes down from your jab, cool, but stop searching for a knockout. If you search for a knockout, you're not going to get it. This seems to be an issue with boxers that want to put a lot of power on it. They want to put a lot of snap on it. They get real tense and they really overcommit to it. The problem is they start to lunge. They start to extend themselves too far to the point that your feet aren't underneath you. Your base isn't there. So let's say you overcommit and you miss. Now you're in a bad spot. Your opponent can counter and you can't move because your feet aren't right there. Sure, give yourself a second, pull that leg in, move out around, but seconds really count here and you don't want to be in a bad position for too long. If you're lunging in with your punches, especially your jab, you have an issue because when you lunge in, you overcommit to that. Now, the only option for weight transfer you have is forward. You have no option of going back, going left or right because you heavy loaded that front leg so much. Hopefully this video will help you lock down your jab and really perfect it so that it's the most useful that it can be. Why go into a sword match with a half dull sword? You want everything to be sharp. So even the basic ass jab, work on it, drill it, perfect it. This is just some common mistakes. It doesn't cover it all, so there's gonna be some that I'm missing. I'm just covering the biggest portions. If you found this video helpful, I invite you to like, subscribe, share. Any of it helps out that YouTube algorithm, which in turn helps me out and makes me know that making these videos isn't just a hobby, it's worth it, because hopefully I'm helping somebody level up their boxing game out there. As always, ladies and gents, thanks for tuning in to Punch Club.